everyone, so today I'm going to be doing a video on 10 things that you should take to uni. Most of these are things that I either forgot to take or were just very useful when I was at uni. So these are not necessarily essentials, but they're good things to have, and I thought this would be a better video and like a shorter video than just saying everything you need to take to uni, because there's lists and stuff like that on the internet if you want to know every single thing. And obviously that's going to be different per person, so I thought I would condense it into just 10 things in this video, and then I'm also going to do a video on what I'm taking, so that will also show maybe a few more things that you might not have realised. So yeah, this is just going to be 10 things that I feel like are quite easy to forget to bring for some of them, but are really important. So the first thing is kind of random, but that's just boxes. When you're moving in, you're obviously going to move in with a lot of boxes, but I know that some people's parents just drove back with them once they'd unpacked and things like that, but I would just recommend having as many boxes as you can and that will fit in your room, because I ended up having all my stuff basically in the boxes that I brought them with, so it was really easy to pack up at the end, and also my room was just a lot more organised and things just weren't everywhere, so I put boxes inside cupboards and under the bed and things like that, and it just makes it so much easier to keep everything separated, especially if you have a room with not many cupboards. You can separate your things using boxes instead of cupboards. Okay, so my next two things are both kitchen related, and the first one is a knife sharpener, which seems quite weird, but all of the knives in our flat got blunt so quickly and they just became pretty useless. I was quite lucky because I kept mine separate, so it didn't get used as often, and it stayed one of the sharper knives, but the rest just went so blunt. And in the end, one of my flatmates, when her mum came up and visited, she came up with a knife sharpener and sharpened all our knives, which was so lovely of her. But yeah, if you have a spare knife sharpener lying around, which I'm not sure many people do, or if not, I'm sure you can get them quite cheaply, I'd recommend bringing a knife sharpener with you, because yeah, it would have been very handy to have one in our flat, and then we wouldn't have had to deal with blunt knives the whole time. The second kitchen item is a can opener, which again, this one seems more common sense, which I think it is, but we only had like 2 or 3 can openers between all of us in our flat, one of which broke. Actually, I think a couple broke and they just got lost, or they were under the pile of washing up. So I would just make sure you bring a can opener, because if quite a few people in your flat forget to bring one, and you have not very many between you, there's a high chance that they're going to get lost and broken. So the more can openers you can have in a flat, the better. Now moving on to room kind of items, the next thing is a doorstop. And I remember hearing this in so many of the university videos that I watched before I went last year, and I kind of just didn't bother. I don't know why, because every single person said a doorstop, but I was like, nah, they're against the rules, I'm not going to actually need a doorstop, I don't want my door propped open anyway. And I got there in freshers and I really wanted a doorstop, because it just makes your room seem so much more inviting and like you can meet people easier. So in the end, one of my flatmates lent me one of hers. It doesn't have to be a big extravagant doorstop, just one that works, and it will make freshers a lot easier with meeting people and things like that. The next thing that I've got to bring is photos, which I think is so important. Most university rooms, I'm pretty sure, come with a pin board, and our one was huge. So I printed off photos before I came to uni and I just covered that pin board in them. And I just think that's so important. It makes your room look more, you know, homely, and it gives you photos of your friends and family if you're missing home. And I just think it's such an important addition, and I think rooms just look so empty without anything on the walls. The next thing kind of goes along with photos, and that's just kind of little decorations for your room, which seems kind of unnecessary out of all the things you're going to spend money on for uni, which I probably agree with. Like, it's not technically an essential, but I just think it's so nice in making your room look and feel like your room, and you're not just staying in like a hostel for, you know, 8 months. So just bring some knick-knacky things, anything that's your style. I had lots of coppery jars and candles and photo frames and things like that. And I just think it made my room look so much nicer, and my room was very minimal, and all my flatmates said that when they came in, they'd say how empty my room was. But I quite liked the emptiness of it, but I still had those little bits and pieces of decorations that kind of made it feel like my room and not someone else's. The next thing I've got on my list of essentials is post-it notes, which doesn't seem like too much of an essential, but they're just so useful for everything. I literally had hundreds of post-it notes and used hundreds of post-it notes, and I've still come home with hundreds of post-it notes. I don't understand why I have so many, but just writing lists, to-do lists, stuff like reminders. If you've got an appointment or a meeting or something, just write it down on a post-it note, stick it above your desk where you're going to see it. They're just such good things to have, and they make organising and planning and things like that so much easier. The next item, I feel like some people might disagree with it being an essential, but that's a printer. I had one last year and it was so useful, and I would recommend anyone that has either the money or a spare one lying at home to bring one with you, because you get credits and things on the printers at uni, but it's not always easy to walk up to campus to print stuff out. Sometimes you just need things last minute, like tickets for things, or you know, actual assignments, and I think it's just worth the money for the hassle it saves. And yeah, like I said, I had a printer, so like all of my flat used my printer, because you know, going to the library to print off things isn't always what you want to do, and if you can just print things off without having to go somewhere, it may be lazy, but you know, it's so much easier. And yeah, I would definitely recommend getting a printer. The next item is also perhaps debatable whether it's an essential or not, but I feel like it's something that people might forget, and that is fancy dress or face paints or glitter or anything like that, because especially in freshers there's lots of events where you have to dress up for, and even just throughout the year, people's birthdays, everyone always does something themed. And if you have it at home, you might as well bring it to uni with you, because it will save you money on having to buy stuff when you're there. And yeah, it's just easy. So for anything like that, you're already ready. You've got the face paint, you've got the clothes. You don't have to stress about running out to Primark to try and find a cheap top to turn into something. Like, you're just already sorted and you just don't have to worry about it. The final thing I've got on my list for my top 10 uni essentials is paracetamol, which sounds kind of strange, but I feel like stuff like that is easy to forget. And when I say paracetamol, I mean paracetamol, ibuprofen, Lemsip, cold and flu tablets, everything, because you're going to need it. Freshers' flu is inevitable, and if you're prepared, it makes life easier. You don't want to have to be walking into town when you're feeling rubbish to get paracetamol or anything like that. Just go with it already, be prepared. You're going to need it, you'll use it. It won't be a waste of money. And yeah, it's kind of things like that you forget when you move out of home, where it kind of already has everything. So I definitely recommend taking all of the pain relief drugs. So that has been my top 10 university essentials. If you are at uni or have been to uni and you can think of anything else that I would have forgotten, leave that in the comments below for anyone that is thinking about going to uni and is struggling with what to take. Like I said at the beginning, I'm also going to be doing a video on what I'm taking, so that's going to include a lot more than 10 things, and hopefully it'll give more ideas if you're struggling with what to bring. So that is everything. I'll leave my university room tour video down below, because that way you can see more things I had in my room and where I put things and everything like that. But yeah, other than that, thank you for watching. Bye!